Hey guys, welcome to Finally Clicked, the podcast where we discuss business, leadership, and personal development. My name is Margaret Smith, and I'm the Director of Operations for Pickett Street Properties, a real estate team out of Bothell, Washington. And I'll be here every week with our owner and team leader, Jesse D. Moore. We'll be digging into concepts and ideas that have helped us both personally and professionally, and you'll also get a chance to hear from local and national experts that we know provide massive value to get to the point where it all finally clicks. It's Friday, May 1st. It's May Day. Welcome to another episode of Finally Clicked with Jesse D. Moore and Margaret Macaulay Smith. We're here. We're excited to talk to you. We're going to do some real talk. Real talk. I got my diffuser going. I know you can't benefit from that as much, Jesse, but for the scenery, I tried to make it as calm and peaceful as possible. So.
And is this a dress, a bridesmaid dress, or just a dress?
Oh yes, no, this is just a dress. This is not a bridesmaid dress. What I realized though, that wearing these dresses every week for Finally Clicked is helping me emotionally. So this is a really fun one. I like the black with the glasses, a little librarian-esque. It's good. It's getting me all pumped up. I have a dating presentation tonight, or conversation with a couple of girls, and so I'm getting mentally and emotionally prepared for that.
It sounds like it's a get ready dating meeting.
Yeah.
You're meeting with women and not potential dates.
No, we're doing a conversation about dating while in quarantine.
Is this a bitch session or?
No. This is going to be a very constructive, exploratory session on Tungsten Light, available to the public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who else is on this with you?
My friend Marika Belusa will be moderating it, and then Ada Alvarado.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is Hinge doing these days? You sounded a little over it last week, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like a roller coaster. There are a lot of people still reaching out, and one of the number one questions is, are you looking for a quarantine buddy or something beyond? So it's interesting though. It is. I have been encouraging other women I know to get on an app and just have fun with it, because it seems like a lot of people that are not normally on the apps are on right now, and not bad people that are actually really awesome individuals who just have never stopped and taken the time to do something like this. So I'm in good conversation.
Fresh crop, the fresh Hinge crop.
Yes, fresh pics.
Wow. It's like nature, right? When we leave it alone, and then all these species of flora and fauna show up, and it's the same in dating.
I like that metaphor.
Now we have these woodchucks, rock chucks, coming out of hiding, saying, maybe I need to reevaluate my life and what I'm prioritizing. Maybe next quarantine I'll be holed up with someone.
I've legit, no jokes, I've had at least, I probably would have had more if I'd more welcomed the conversation, but 2 guys have said, will you come be quarantined with me? And I'm like, no. I mean, number 1, I don't know you. Number 2, no. What are you asking? This is ridiculous.
I think today's podcast, Margaret and I have to say, I think about this too often. I think about this podcast too much. And what I mean by that is, as I want to have good content, and I want to have good episodes, and I want it to mean something, and I don't want to just ramble.
Sure.
But at the same time, we're going through a Groundhog Day, right? Where every day is kind of the same, and you kind of have the same conversations in your head and with other people, and it's hard to keep track of what you have talked about and haven't talked about, and so today I just thought I thought this would be a unique episode because fact of the matter is I laid Margaret off not quite 2 weeks ago, and since then we've hardly talked. I mean, very rarely talked, and part of that is me just leaving you alone and letting you have your space so you can I just know you, right? don't generally respond well to when you feel burnt out or you feel overwhelmed. Generally, you like to retreat and be by yourself and do your own thing. And so I've been honoring that, as hard as that is for me. So we've only really talked at the team meeting. We had a conversation last week, separate. But other than that, I've only talked to you at the team meeting, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought this would be a very authentic conversation with you, because you and I have not had the ability to, we just haven't talked fully at length in a while. And since these are real events for us and it's real events for other people, I thought we should just catch up a little bit.
Sounds
good. What do you think of
that? Sounds good. How did you feel about going out to see Jaggles on her birthday for her birthday drive-by?
How do you think I felt, Margaret?
Well, I thought maybe you would enjoy it.
You thought I would enjoy it?
Yeah.
What gives you that idea?
Well, it gets you out of the house. You get to see a bunch of people, even though we didn't. There were people, like I told you. So we did a drive-by for Christina and Jaggles' birthday on Wednesday, and this is becoming like a quarantine thing. And so we all met at a park down the street from her house to like get together and decorate our cars and all this. And there were some people that were just like right up next to you, and I was like, whoa, hey, I'm still trying to like socially distance. And so that was not like, there was a lot of people.
I got full on hugged several times.
Did you? Yeah.
You know? And I haven't been hugging people. You know?
Yeah. So I did have to. Oh, go ahead.
I'm ready for the quarantine to be over, because I'm ready for these birthday parades to go away. Like,
I do have to agree that I feel a little bit of pressure from that. Like
a little.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't know. It's like we turned into. I feel like we turned into Latino gang members that have lowriders and our cars are bumping, and you know what? Like, we're going on a parade to hoot and holler. And I saw Jaggles' face, and I know it meant a lot. There was a lot of people there, and I know it meant a lot to her. But I mean, you know me too well, Margaret. You know that I don't know how to. I like one-on-one, meaningful, thoughtful, gift giving over throw or something from the street. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand, and I wanted to participate for Jaggles' sake. But you know, I do it under duress. I don't know what my problem is. Okay. I love Jaggles, and I like to express my love to like 5 people or less, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a problem. I just think it's something to it just right now everything's amplified, totally. And the thing, and that's, you know, normally Jaggles doesn't like a lot of people either. I think one of the reasons it made her so emotional was because she's just been wanting to see everybody's faces for so long. So yeah, it definitely, she cried. It was that was the cool part. But I agree with you. I finally put myself, the whole idea was for me to ride in the back of Melissa's truck. So finally, after a few minutes of like seeing people, I just hopped in the truck and hopped up on top so that people literally couldn't get near me. Because I'm feeling very, I've been very specific with people. Like, my brother's about to have a baby in the next 2 weeks, and they might need me to pick up the kids. They might need me to be with their kids. And then, and with my mom and her immune composition, I'm not hanging out with people, and very purposefully. And also kind of like you with Jill, between my roommate and then my friend Layla downstairs, I've probably been more exposed to a number of people than some have. And I recognize that. And so I'm trying to be very cautious. Like, the last thing I want right now, and the more this week I've heard about other people passing away that are friends of friends that have no immune composition issues, whatever that word is. Their immune systems were not compromised. It's really making me I'm even more aware in this week compared to past weeks about who I'm, I don't want to do that to anybody. I just don't. I would die from pain of it. So, and while the birthday celebration was fun, and I'm glad that we were able to do that for her, it was, I was very aware of where everybody was the entire time. And so that was hard.
I don't know. I will say this about Puget Sound area. We're we're all over the quarantine, and I can tell that by the amount of people I see outside. Traffic, there's traffic. I had traffic yesterday.
Oh, really?
I did some work yesterday, and I had to run to Lake Stevens, and it was 30 miles per hour on Highway 9. So, I mean, there's a lot of people out, and I think everyone goes, and I kind of get it. I'm trying to be smart about it, but it's hard when we've been quarantined for about 2 months, and you're kind of like, okay, we gave everybody time, right, to be safe and for mass supply to increase and for testing to increase and for people to take it seriously. And now I do think people, like it or not, people have to go back to work soon. And we're just going to have to be careful. And people are just going to have to be careful. And for that reason, I think you're going to see a lot of severe changes in how we live our lives. Like, movie theaters might be a thing of the past. We may not go to a movie theater again.
Have you heard about Amazon, Smartsheets, and I think there was one other company I heard about that have basically told their employees they're not coming back till January 2021, and they've actually seen an increase in productivity. And so I think it's going to change the way people going forward, whether they work from home or not. I think it'll have a positive impact on traffic in Seattle, which could be really cool. Like, there's a lot of things that are interesting that are coming out from having people work at home.
Yeah, I would say that I am worried about commercial real estate. I can see that market softening quite a bit and it not coming back for a while. So commercial real estate will be interesting to watch. I do think ways of life will improve for most people in a lot of ways. But for us, like, as a business, I don't know. And as a leader, I feel like we did the right thing. It was not easy. It was very hard, honestly, for me to have a business that I've had for 15 years. And then because of a series of events that are beyond my control, it changes everything for us. And I did so willingly. I kind of looked into the eyes of this unknown predator and did my best not to blink,
Yeah.
And so we haven't been broadcasting the fact that we had to lay Jagels and Amanda off probably 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was right after that, 1 weekend.
And I stopped paying myself at that same time. And so Margaret was my only paid employee for 2 weeks. And then was forced to lay her off as a function of time and money and this grant process and loan process, just waiting for everything to kind of work itself out. And it has been no fun for me. And it's no fun for me too, because I do leave you alone, which is not my natural tendency. I want to bug you and harass you and see how you're doing. And I like you involved in my business, and I need an assistant. I mean, I remember I was reminded of that 1,000 times. I'm like, you don't know how many times I said, that's why I need an assistant in my head, just because I have all these things to do. It's not like my workload's gotten less. It's gotten, more harder. So what's it been like for you?
Well, I haven't really felt the impact in terms of time. And I don't know if I think I've been talking about it with people that from all walks of life, everybody's in a different situation. And some people, I don't know if it's just hearsay or if it's real, some people are saying they have all this time. And I haven't found that. So it'll be 2 weeks on Monday. But last week, I was at the team meeting. I wrapped up my whatever work that was left on that Monday, and then really did stuff on Friday too. So I think what's interesting from what we've talked about a little bit is I'm feeling the impact of people missing my energy and my presence. And that's not just with work with Pickett Street, it's with everybody. And so what has been interesting is that it's prompted me to really take a deep dive more into everything that I've been looking into with energy, spirituality, intuition, all of that. And so I've had a little bit more time this week to do that. So I did a class on Monday, and I did a session yesterday with a woman who works with human design chart stuff. And I'm learning a whole lot, which we'll have to definitely talk about, because it's just been an interesting time to do that. And I've felt completely overwhelmed and emotionally bombarded. So I haven't really found any peace until this week. And so I think today is Friday. It was Wednesday when I said, all right, Margaret, you're not doing anything today. You're not going to do anything that you feel like you have to do. And so I slept until 10. I did a workout class. I walked around Green Lake. So I basically got in like 2 hours of moving my body. And then I did some meditation, watched a movie, and went to bed early. And I really needed to do that. So despite being around less people, it's just become everything that you know about me, which you kind of knew intuitively at the beginning, or we had a lot of conversations about environment and how much that impacts me, and you giving me like an office to myself from the very beginning. I don't even know, I can't even remember if I expressed to you that was what I would need, but it's becoming very apparent to me how much my inner environment really impacts me to an extreme level. And I need to be able to curate an environment that feels good to me in order to be myself, and really for people to see, and for myself to see what I can do. And so it's just been a really cool couple of days just this week, really, where I feel like I've been able to kind of dive into that and totally own it. And that's been the positive effect. I know that it's been hard for you. I knew it was going to be hard for you, though. And it's hard for you whenever I go on vacation, whenever I'm gone for a couple of days. Not just from the assistant perspective, but from just the presence and the energy that I bring to the office. And so, I don't know. It's a journey for sure. But I mean, I've told you this before, and I've told other people that I've talked to, being unemployed is not something that I've broadcasted, and it's not something I need to broadcast out of respect for you and the team. And also it's just not like, I don't need to do a post on social media about it. But I think it was the right move for sure to do in a business sense. So when you take the personal stuff out of it, it was absolutely what we needed to do. And so I'm proud of how you've responded, because in comparison to a lot of other people that I'm talking to around the country, yet again, I think you don't understand the difference between you and how other people react and respond. And so I've appreciated how you've handled everything, and I think the entire team has as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, not always easy, not fun, but it's just reality. I have some exciting news. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
My PPP loan got approved.
Oh, nice. As of today?
Yeah, it's not, I'm waiting until it hits my account before I click my heels. But yeah, I will let everyone know just how frustrating this process has been. I made application on April 7th for the PPP, Payroll Protection Program. Mm-hmm. And, and I know a lot of people that didn't need it, that got it. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating. We very much needed it. I felt like we lost, I've talked about this a lot, but we lost a lot of business at the start of the stay-at-home order, and then we put a good book of business together, and then that fell apart too. And we have great momentum, and if anything, I've been working my tail off, and we're seeing the fruit of that now with inventory coming up. But it's been a brutal process, and it's cost me at least $50,000 in wages and losses. And so this PPP program is replacing that, essentially. And so it is very important to me. and to us, and I got approved on May 1st, so 3 weeks later, when a lot of my friends were approved in a day or 2 days or whatever the case may be. And I'm grateful for it to be approved. I hated to think what would happen if it didn't. But now I'm waiting for it to hit the account. I know some other people may not get it, like April 7th was a while ago. And so some people that applied, I know that I talked to an SBA loan rep yesterday, and he was a client, and he thought they were going to run out of money yesterday. So the fact that mine got approved this morning, that was close, and they're probably close to running out of money again. And it'll be interesting to see what next steps the government takes. They either have to let people go back to work, and probably still continue to offer stimulus packages for those that are affected by this. But it's been such an interesting experience. Like, I don't know, it's like 9/11 to some degree, where there's a sense of patriotism, that happens overnight, and that you kind of remember the humanity in it all. And when you are forced to put your own desires aside for the greater good or for other people, it humanizes all of us, and makes me prouder of our species,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the update.
Nice. So that was from the smaller bank rather than Chase.
No, that was through Chase.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I ended up, and that's another conversation, is I have been a client of Chase Bank for 20 years. I'm a private client, which is some unique designation that seems meaningless at this point, but it means I should get their attention, right? And it didn't feel like I had it. It felt like I was going to get lost in the shuffle. And so I know that I think, my friend Jennifer Beatles mentions this, and maybe we'll have her on next week, about hyper-localism. And it's something you and I have talked about in the past, but I think this is going to force it to be true. And that is, I'll probably convert to a smaller bank, local community bank, and just establish a stronger sense of community where we're at. Because I can't, to be honest, these big banks, I just don't know you can trust them anymore. Mm-hmm. And these local banks, there's more heart and understanding and more of a relationship there, and I'd rather foster that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I switched to BECU a couple years ago.
I don't feel the same way about BECU. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of BECU for my own reasons, but
yeah,
I can understand it. Yeah, I know a lot of people bank there. So.
Yeah, I was with Bank of America for probably 30 years.
And Wells Fargo is so interesting because they've been around forever, but they've just been on an apology spree. Like, they're running ads that are saying, "We're sorry. we've done terrible things, and we want to re-earn your trust." And and I honestly, I don't think they did so well through this whole thing either. So I think like in any industry and business, I think there's a real opportunity here for the little guy to get his shot. Mm-hmm. If there's someone in your market that's been working in a neighborhood or they've had a stronghold on your community market for a while. Now's a chance to show up different. And it's been working. I've been very productive at home, honestly. And at the office. I've been going to the office by myself since no one else is there and working at your computer, your station.
Right.
And I've been getting a tremendous amount of work done. I couldn't believe how much work I got done yesterday, honestly. And I did a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do, but I have to do it. And I've written.
What made you so productive?
What's that?
What do you think prompted you to be so productive?
Need, partly. You know, I was having a talk with my buddy Grant Weaver about this, and the part of this that's good for me, well, this is what let me share his experience. Grant and I are good buddies. He's a great real estate agent. He tried to build a team, and like any team, it imploded at one point, and he just didn't want to rebuild it again. Like, he just decided, I'm not going to do that. And since then, like everybody, we've had our ups and downs. He's had his ups and downs, but he's doing really well right now. And in a conversation that I had with him about it, you know, a lot of it for him was getting back to the basics and him doing this stuff, him doing the work, and him finding his passion again for real estate in that, you know. And that's kind of true for me too, by kind of like having to do some things that I would normally give to someone else. It forces me to not only do the work, but to think about how I'm doing it efficiently and productively, and to make sure I do a good job. And now I have, since I've been doing that, you know, I now have listings coming out of my ears, it feels like all of a sudden now, next week we're putting on 2 listings, and then we have listings every week thereafter for quite a while. And it's just because I'm stuck here with nothing other to do than I can do this, or I can parent my kids. You know, like I'd rather, I love work. I like to be productive and make money and take care of my family and make sure that the team's taken care of too. And so I've always worked well with my back against the wall. I wish it didn't take that sometimes, but I guess it's better than the alternative, which is not working great with my back against the wall.
Have you ever been figured out like how to be able to get to that place without being against a wall?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can do that. I've done it for a long time, but you know, when you're not there and you don't have to, you don't sometimes. And so for me, it was, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it again. And the reality is that this isn't a lesson for anyone individually. I don't know that it's a lesson for us collectively, but like it or not, things happen in life that are outside of our control, and how we respond to it is always the lesson. And when something unexpected and seems dire and disrupts our way of life and forces us to operate outside of our comfort zone, like, that's always hard. And it's always good for us to go through it. So I don't know, do I wish things were easier and less stressful? Often. But right now I'm very grateful for it.
What are you most grateful for about that, you think?
Not taking things for granted. I'm grateful for the perspective that it's not always roses and tulips and blooming violets, it's like sometimes it's the digging and the raking and the hoeing and the, you know, so, and then when you finally turn a corner and business starts to happen, or the result you had hoped would happen happens, man, there's tremendous joy on the other side of that. So today I got a client who's never paid 6% commission on any listing. He's an investor. He's never paid that much. And I basically helped him to the point where he couldn't tell me no. Like, I did everything for him because he's out of state, and I took care of everything, and it's ready because of me. And he he didn't even question me, really. He just noted, hey, I've never paid this much. But he didn't ask me to reduce it or lower it. He just was making it clear that he's never paid that much. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, great. Are you ready to go on the market next Thursday? And the answer was yes. So. And then it's funny how, I imagine it's different for you. Like, has Dan been around much? Your roommate?
Dan has had a really hard week. Yeah, he's working every day until late. He's had some really awful cases come up in the last 5 days. So he's around the weekend, but.
Well, I wonder if it's, I imagine it's different for you as a single person, and, where sometimes you don't have anyone there. And then for Jill and I, there's that Groundhog Day stuff is real, where we can't just like hang out and talk because we've talked about everything. Like, it's fine, but it's fine when we go off and do our own thing, because you can't just like, if you've talked through everything, I don't know, there's just not a lot to talk about. So
yeah, no, I think a lot of people are experiencing that Groundhog Day thing. I have not yet, and I don't know exactly why, except for that I've always been really good at having fun no matter what I do. And so for me, this has not been difficult. Like, there's plenty of things to do. There's plenty of things to entertain myself with. I made a point of going outside every day. So, Dan and I talk at night when he comes home or on the weekends. There have been so many people reaching out to me that I can't talk to everybody. And so I haven't experienced that yet, but I know there's been quite a few people that feel like they have. Like, they get up every day and they don't know how to make it different. They feel like they're stuck in this repeat. And I haven't had that feeling yet, fortunately.
I've worked out 30 times in 30 days.
That's impressive. That's good. I have not.
And yeah, we have some great listings coming up, and that gets me excited, and they're great people. All the listings I have in the next 3 weeks are all just salt of the earth people that are just grateful to be alive and
good to work with.
Yeah. So it's been good. So what I'm learning from this whole thing is, since you've been laid off, I've missed you, and you've gotten deeper into your energy work.
I have.
All right, just make sure I got it right.
It doesn't mean that I haven't missed anybody on the team. It's not what it means, but I think that's how people have received it.
Why is that?
Just, the conversation that you and I had last week, and from what you've said, that's what it sounds like. So, I don't know. That's a really hard thing for me to deal with. And I think it's part of the reason why I've felt overwhelmed and I've felt exhausted, because I realize that people feel good around my energy and feel good around my presence. And I love that. And sometimes it's a lot to accept.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone, I'm trying to understand that from your perspective, and it's difficult because I don't feel like anyone has said anything or, complained or anything.
Aside from your conversation that we had last week.
Right, well, that's just me talking to you and checking in and trying to offer you a perspective that's different than your own.
Okay. Well, that was what I got from that conversation. And then, I mean, I guess part of it is also my experience here. So with the people that I have reaching out to me, I have a lot of people reaching out to me. I have to say no a lot.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
No, I understand that. I just think, I think that's I don't know. I think that's an interesting statement from you, considering a lack of evidence. I don't know.
The statement that I feel drained.
No, just that other people feel a certain way about you, and that drains you. It seems based on an assumption more than.
Oh, okay. I was basing it off of our conversation last week, but maybe I'm misinterpreting what you said.
Well, that was 8 days ago.
Okay.
Like one time, and that's kind of my point. Is in 2 weeks, like we're used to having conversations often, and so one conversation in 2 weeks doesn't feel like a lot or too much.
Okay.
I'm asking.
It was not just the one conversation. It was the one conversation with your explanation of how people from the team were feeling with me not being around as much. And so I took that to mean that it was more than just that one experience of you talking to me on Thursday. And then, I mean, it's also just my experience. And it's my experience. If it's not yours or somebody else's, that's fine. But this is what I feel. And so that's just the reality for me.
Yeah, but that's always the conversation that you and I have, is that discussion of, like, I think reality is, I'm trying to decide if reality is subjective or objective, because I don't think that, I think if we're self-aware, we have to know that our reality is not always true.
Well, sure. As they say, there's your reality, there's mine. And then the truth is usually somewhere in between that.
Good talk.
If it's not true, that's totally fine. I'm glad that everybody's doing well. That's a good thing.
Well, it's not that they're doing well. That's not the conversation. To bring our listeners up to speed here, I think one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation on the podcast is that it's totally different running a team when you have to lay people off, or you can't pay them, or whatever the case is, right? But there is a relationship that money creates that is hard to ignore. And if you take that piece away from it, it absolutely changes the relationship. As a business owner and a leader, that can be hard. And just as I imagine, as it's hard for the person not getting paid, who's used to a regular paycheck. So it's just an interesting experience to go through it and to lead people through that, and then try to figure out how to bend your expectations with this new reality that we're facing. And so, when we laid people off, or the first rounds, we had to figure out what our expectations were for them showing up, right? And for us to show up for them as a team. And we had to figure out a new balance there. And then I think that was true with you as well, although I don't think we've hit the new balance yet. Like I think we've left you alone for the most part. Not that you're not doing what you can and need to do, but it's just a different experience.
Well, I was really the only full employee besides yourself, right? Like Amanda, salary plus commission. Jaggles is still third-party TC, so it's a different relationship.
Jiggles, I mean, she made a living full-time wage from us.
Yeah, but I'm saying she can still operate and work with Pickett Street and make money as a third-party TC.
Yeah, much more limited. But it changed for me too. Like I didn't get paid. I haven't been paid through this, and that is a super trippy place to be in a team and to lead and to, like I said, manage expectations and manage friendships and manage relationships. So I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I do feel like I've rounded a corner, which I'm glad for. And I think we can talk about how to move back towards normalcy. But I think it's an important conversation to have. I know there's teams, like you said, where they're laid off and they're expected to work 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's funny to me. Sometimes I am hard on myself as a business person that I'm not cold-hearted enough, or that I'm not, I'm not making business savvy decisions because of relationships or people. But I can sleep at night and I can look myself in the mirror. And
yeah, I would say for people that stop looking themselves in the mirror, they should probably stop doing business. So there's a lot of admin that have been really poorly treated through this that makes me very angry. So, and because of their self-worth, they're not leaving. I've only told you one story. There's more stories that I've heard that are really unfortunate. So it sucks to be witness to that. It sucks a lot.
Do you think there's going to be a karmic justice for those people?
Yes, I do. I actually think part of this is starting right now.
Yeah.
I mean, really awful, shitty things. So it's hard to sit back and watch that. And those are some of the people that have been calling me for advice. And I'm saying, I'm not going to coach you right now. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to be a coach for you right now. I'm just going to be a friend. I'm going to be someone that this is what I'm hearing, and this is really inappropriate. This is really inappropriate. And I know the idea of not working anymore right now is really scary. And yet, if I were you and I were in your situation, I would absolutely turn on my heels and leave right now, whether I had kids or not, or what have you. So, yeah, those are the stories I wish I could talk about publicly, because they're awful, it's stupid, really inappropriate leadership, horrible way to run a company. I mean, talk about looking at yourself in the mirror, in the face before you go. I don't think these people can look at anything.
How you doing, Mom?
Not great. How are you?
What happened?
Oh, this is a whole bunch of really hard things to talk about. That's all.
So what's hard about it for you?
No, sometimes our difference in opinion is just something that's always going to be there, and it's hard to settle with that.
Well, I don't know. I think it's okay if we talk about it. I'm not demanding you move a certain direction. Like, there's no expectation for you to move a certain way.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not asking you to meet me where I'm at. in this discussion. I'm not saying you have to come my way. I'm just trying to understand your perspective and share mine. There's no threat or right.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a threat. No, it's not at all how I feel. But it's sometimes, like I've told you before, like there's a reason you're one of the best real estate agents in the state. And it's because you're really good at discussions and really good at showing your side, and you know, and that has been something that has really helped me grow a lot because I've not always been very good at that. So sometimes when I talk about diving into my energy work and intuition and all of that, it just feels like it's kind of not just with you, but it's just not received well.
Sorry.
Okay. It just feels like it's not really received well, and it doesn't need to be received well, not by you, but by other people. It's just this is what helps me, and so I don't really care what other people think about it, because if it helps me and helps my journey, that's all that matters. So
there's no judgment from me about that.
I don't think I felt judgment from you about that, but I think I felt like I don't know. I don't know what I feel. I think I'm still figuring it out.
Well, there's no I mean it. There's no judgment from me on that. It's just a realization that I am saying that this is what I expected. I mean, this is, for the most part, this is what I expected. I expected to leave you alone and for you to have some freedom to explore it.
If you hadn't left me alone, what would that look like?
You'd be upset. You'd be emotional. And
But what do you mean though by not leaving me alone? Like reaching out and asking me questions, or just talking?
I mean, operating like I normally would, which would just be, hey, I can interrupt you. I can talk. I can call you. I can interface with you.
To talk about work stuff.
Not just work stuff, but I'm very conscious about your wishes and your desires, and then I knew, based on previous conversations, that if this happened, how you'd want to handle it, and none of that surprised me. So, but I didn't. It meant if I felt like I wanted to tell you something or call you or talk to you, that I pushed that aside or, waited.
Okay.
So, because you would drop, I know you would drop anything and you would call me back and you would interrupt whatever you're doing, and so it's part of that's my responsibility to not interrupt you, not make you choose, so that you have the clarity of mind and time to figure out what you need to figure out. I think that's something you and I do very well. We've worked together 7.5 years. And in that time, we both know how the other person responds to stress. And you and I have both gotten better at giving that to one another. So I'm just asking for grace, and that it's a unique experience and situation that I haven't been through before. And I think in that conversation about leadership, I think sometimes you do have to take money away from that conversation and see how it changes the dynamic of the relationship and the dynamic of the conversation. Because there are times when we have to leave without money, and leadership it's not a monetary transaction. It's an interpersonal and relationship transaction. Yet it's totally affected by money payment. So it's a weird reality. I feel like this is one of Joe Rogan's mushroom episodes where he gets really high with Duncan Trussell and talks about the multiverse.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's just hard talking about things that aren't totally concrete sometimes.
Well, that's the whole life that we're in right now, right? Which I think is why so many people are struggling with it, because there's no known. Like every day the knowns change, the facts change. And however comfortable you are with that definitely shows through for people. They were supposed to make, was it at 2:30 today that the governor was supposed to talk about next steps for phases going back?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, to talk this afternoon.
Because not everybody's going back May 5th or May 4th anymore, right?
No, they can't. They can't just open the floodgates. They have to like piecemeal this out.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice outside today.
Is it?
You haven't been outside?
No, I've been indoors.
What are you doing after this today?
Well, I'll be publishing and producing this episode, which takes a couple hours, and then I have a dating conversation on Tungsten Light tonight.
What time is that?
7:00.
Hey, Need to Breathe has 2 new songs out today.
Oh, really? Just today?
Yeah. The younger brother, Bear, left the band.
When?
When?
Yeah.
Like last week.
Wow. I wonder why.
No, they didn't. They've always got their brothers, Bo and Bear, and they don't always get along. They almost broke up before the Rivers in the Wasteland album. And so I'm grateful for the last 2 albums, Rivers in the Wasteland and Hard Love, because that was their like push through whatever they had to work through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some awesome music on those 2 albums, and whatever the case may be, they just need a break.
Huh.
The new songs are good.
I'll check it out. What are you doing after this?
I'm going on a listing appointment.
Where at?
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake.
And
you do it in person?
Yep. And then I'm done for the day, which feels good. I have my kids here. And I pressure washed the back patio, and I have a fire table and I hung the lights. So if it's nice out, we'll probably hang out outside tonight.
Nice. Well, it looks like it's supposed to be kind of prettier this weekend. Some sunshine again, finally.
I miss you, Mo.
Miss you too.
Nice to see your face.
Per Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Finally, clickers. This is an awkward conversation brought to you by Jesse Moore and Margaret Smith. Thanks for talking about it, Mo.
You're welcome.
As always.
Should I call it that? An awkward conversation?
I mean, it's a little bit awkward.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Probably have to use that drop a couple times.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone reach out and say that my Instagram reading is probably their favorite thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. I definitely think it's pretty amusing to do the wheel with that as a part of it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And next week, maybe we can interview one of our 2 guests we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
A little planning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, Mo.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.